Hey everyone, it's been a while. Beautiful day here in the Hudson Valley. I figured I'd do this outside. We'll continue Alyssa's journey. Topic number 7. I want to talk to you about ventilator dependent beds, actually the lack of ventilator dependent beds here in the Mid-Hudson Valley region in New York State. First of all, thank you always for all the support, prayers, and love. My family, myself, we couldn't do it without you. We get miracles each and every day thanks to the good Lord and all our hope and faith and trust in Him. And it's all good. Alyssa is doing okay. And I'll get into that in a little bit here. But I want to talk about the lack of ventilator-dependent beds here in this region. And when I talk about the Mid-Hudson Valley region, I'm talking about the 7 counties: Dutchess, Orange, Putnam, Rockland, Sullivan, Ulster, and Westchester. And approximately a total of 2.5 million residents living in that consists of the Mid-Hudson Valley region. Now think about that. Now, do you know how many ventilator bed facilities there are in the 7 counties? There are 6. 2 in Westchester, New Rochelle and Yonkers, 2 in Rockland, New City and Nanuet, and 2 in Ulster County in Highland and Lake Katrine. That is right. No ventilator-dependent bed facilities in Dutchess, Putnam, Orange, or Sullivan. How crazy is that? And out of the 6 facilities, there's approximately 154 ventilator beds. That's it. Now, yes, now understand that doesn't include the local hospitals. Of course, they have ventilator beds, but I'm talking about after that stage. So Alyssa has her medical emergency, April of 2025, seizure, cardiac arrest, shock twice. Thank you to Brooke and all the first responders. Thank you to the man above, and got her back. She goes to the local hospital. We spend about 30 days in ICU, go to a step-down unit, and then it's time to go. Like, there's no more that they want to, I don't want to say they don't want to do, but they're what they call a short acuity stay hospital. You know, it's stabilized and you're off. You have an issue, then you try to find a nursing rehabilitation facility, just to do rehab. And that's a challenge at times if there's a bed available. You add ventilator bed units, that could be a nightmare. And that's what I'm here to talk about. Lessons learned, to educate and share with you. And I pray to God nobody has to go through this. 154. That doesn't mean that those beds are available all the time. And I'm going to explain about that. And ventilator beds, just like I got written down a short definition. Medicaid certified ventilator care with a focus on weaning and pulmonary rehabilitation. Specialized long-term care beds for residents who require ventilator treatment. These beds have piped-in oxygen suction equipment, emergency electrical outlets, and additional square footage available for ventilator equipment and supplies. Obviously, respiratory therapists, pulmonologists, CNAs, nurses, all of that. Somebody that needs 24/7 respiratory support, aka Alyssa. So once we get stabilized, it's time to go, and they want to ship you to an LTAC, a long-term acuity care hospital. There are no long-term acuity care hospitals, LTACs, in New York State. None. There are 3 or 4 in New York City, but good luck trying to get a bed there. And who in the Mid-Hudson Valley wants to travel there? So guess what? Your friend and only family knew this, and I'll share with you today that we were traveling 8 to 9 months back and forth to New Jersey, almost a 4-hour round trip. Yeah, we had to leave our beautiful 36-year-old daughter in New Jersey every single day, and then get down there and get home. Talk about emotional, financial, mental, and physical emotions. Forget about it. What a nightmare. Gas, tolls, food, etc. So yeah, we're blessed, and miracles happened that we got her in a facility that has a ventilator bed here in New York State. Makes things a little bit easier. We still got to travel, but it's okay. Thank you to God above. And I'll just give you a brief list of traumatic brain injuries of folks that need ventilator beds. Maybe a spinal injury, maybe brain stem, maybe chest and lung contusions, maybe airway burns from flames or chemicals. And I'm sure there's more traumatic brain injury types out there, and I could talk about the non-traumatic, like Alyssa, and a anoctic brain injury, or maybe an ALS patient, or somebody COPD patient, or a stroke patient, and I'm sure there's others. I'm just touching upon the main ones, I guess. It's crazy. 6, 2 in Westchester, Yonkers and New Rochelle, 2 in Rockland, New City, Nanuet, and 2 in Ulster County, in Highland or Lake Katrine. That is it. And out of the 6, it's approximately 154 dependent beds. Yeah. Recently, through the facility that Alyssa is at, I had the opportunity and was asked to participate to speak with staff with Congressman Pat Ryan's office. Wonderful people. No issues with them. They listen, they're great people, and I encourage anybody going through any type of situation to call your local politician staff. I don't care what party they are, doesn't matter. They're there to help you. Go do that. Anyway, I got to speak, and I talked about the lack of ventilator-dependent beds, as well as Medicaid versus Medicare, and a few other things. It's crazy. And I don't believe that somebody in the Mid-Hudson Valley region has to travel to possibly New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, or elsewhere. It's insane. I don't have to tell you how bad the healthcare system is throughout the country. Disjointed, the bureaucracy, the cost, the expense, the disconnect, the adjectives are through the roof. It needs a major overhaul, and I have no idea where to even begin. And I'm not one to talk about problems without thinking about solutions. That's just always been me. If somebody comes up with a problem, I say, okay, well, what's your solution? Or what do you think it should be the solution? So here's my take. In Dutchess County, we have the Stabilization Center. And that has helped hundreds of people, no doubt about it, whether homeless, substance abuse a little bit here or there. And I've been there. But, we need something like ventilator bed facility. In every county, it should have at least one. I travel every day throughout Dutchess County and other counties, and there are empty buildings, empty plazas. This federal government, the state, can subsidize the counties to have these things, like a homeless shelter like they do, or working on here in Dutchess County. It's insane. It's needed. It was a nightmare to travel to New Jersey back and forth. It just, I didn't want to think about that anymore. It was hell. So, yeah, that's my take. Now, of course, it's easy for me to say. If I win Powerball, I asked, should I invest in a ventilator bed facility? But I would have to have the equipment. I would have to have the staff. And it's not easy. It's not a moneymaker, that's for sure. And I want to talk about, even though these beds are out there, there's a shortage of staff in these facilities, like everywhere else. Everywhere. Help wanted everywhere, including the facility that Alyssa is at. A shortage of nurses, a shortage of CNAs, a shortage of respiratory therapists. understand this. The other craziness to it is when Alyssa was in New Jersey, I applied her for New Jersey Medicaid because we were there, and I just thought there were no beds available when it was time for her to go. Plus, she's had a list of issues there, medical issues, that I'm like, no, we're not going nowhere. I would have to sign off on her as somebody with power of attorney and guardianship. Absolutely not. I did everything I could to pray to God that we can get a ventilator bed in New York, and it just happened to happen. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. But understand, I applied in New Jersey, and as soon as it almost just about got finalized, we were able to get her to New York. And guess what? You have to terminate New Jersey and start all over again. And it's been 6 months, and we're still waiting for approval in New York State Medicaid. My point, my friends, is if you apply for Medicare, if you're 65 and older, you don't have to apply whether you move to Florida or wherever you go in the country. But Medicaid, you do. It makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. Her financials has not changed one bit. You would think there's one portal. Well, here's another solution for the politicians out there. One portal that everybody, any state can go to and say, okay, let me grab it, let's look at it, and let's see if we can get it approved. One of the reasons, again, and I'm not throwing darts at any local county social services, especially the wonderful people at Dutchess County, but they're short-staffed. Increased enrollment has gone crazy. We're in the summertime. They're short-staffed. It's crazy. So it affects everything. And understand this. Alyssa's been in this facility for 6 months, and without New York State Medicaid getting approved for long-term managed care, because she's in a rehabilitation nursing home, they haven't got paid a dime. Not a single dime, and she's getting the best care ever. No infections, no nothing. Showered, clean, I get her outside. It's insane. Her medication, not paid, and not a dime for 6 months. There's a problem with that. There's got to be a better way, because if any of these facilities go belly up, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. It's crazy that there's only 6. So we're in trouble. So I'm throwing this out there. I met with the great staff of Congressman Pat Ryan's office, and for any New York State Assembly, New York State Senate, any politician. Yeah, I've been through hell, and I don't wish it on anybody. Trust me, I really do not wish this on anybody. And these LTACs, there's not one in New York State. You know, none of these politicians can say, hey, we need to put one up here. But the funding, they need to fight for the funding that could make it happen. In Orange County, we sent Alyssa to rehab. She wanted to go to a rehab facility in Orange County. Orange County purchased in Crystal Run in Middletown an old hotel where the women are upstairs and the men were downstairs. And she went in and she came out in flying colors. Unfortunately, alcoholism or any substance could put you in a relapse. And unfortunately, that's what happened. And it sucks, trust me. I can talk about this, but inside I'm still crushed. But I have all the faith, all my anxiety and worries go to God. He's the only one that matters. God, family, and friends. That's all that matters. It's not about the houses, the money, the luxury, and your job, or any of that. That's all we have. We came with nothing. We're going to leave with nothing. So I don't want to hear from any doctors that think they are God, because that's not going to happen. I will fight and continue. I'm going to continue to fight. Anyway, that's another story. But LTACs, you know, even for the politicians, the term long-term acuity care, they're not long-term. They're for 30 to 35 days at max. And Alyssa had all kinds of issues. 5 bouts of pneumonia, a blood clot, a collapsed lung, sepsis, blood infections a few times, and a really bad bed sore, open wound on her lower back the size of a grapefruit, about 1 inch deep, that just healed this month here in New York. It took over a year. So, and the 3 goals of an LTAC are to aggressively try to get you off the ventilator. And if that doesn't happen, it will train, like myself and my wife. If we bring Alyssa home, New York State Medicaid will pay for you to take care of your daughter or loved one at home. But can I do that? Yeah, but what kind of life will I have? And obviously bringing in home care nurses and stuff. Or if your loved one's health has really deteriorated, there's a good chance that he shut off the vent and you're into palliative care, and they peacefully watch your loved one pass away. Those are 3 great options, right? Yeah, no. My 36-year-old Alyssa is a princess. She's a warrior. She's a fighter. And I know she can get off the ventilator. She's breathing at 30% humidified oxygen. That's one of the lowest levels on a ventilator. We breathe, my friends, at 21 humidified oxygen. So you can tell how close she is. She's done it before. She will do it again. I believe in it, and I know God's got our back. I know it's going to happen. And that brings up a whole nother set of rules, right? But again, that's for another time. But yeah, no, the lack of ventilator-dependent beds in the Mid-Hudson Valley region, the Medicaid versus Medicare. If you apply for Medicare, you can be in any state and it's all good. But Medicaid, if you bring in a loved one from wherever, from different states, you got to start all over again. Makes no sense, my friends. Anyway, thank you for this love. Thank you for the support. Thank you for listening. I hope you get something out of it. I'm still learning. Still got plenty more topics to cover. I just don't have a lot of time. So I apologize for the delay, but we're going to get there. And thank you for the prayers and love and support. Learn CPR. You never know. Just learn CPR. Take a course. It could make a difference. And love one another. Show some care, even though people might look great on the outside. Inside, there's a lot of struggle. People are struggling. I call it, everybody's got baggage. Whether they're still grieving the passing of a loved one. We still don't have a really clear definition of grief. It just stays with you. It's not easy. We've all been there. People battling diseases, cancers, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, whatever. It's financial, the economy, you name it, people are struggling. So, be careful. Treat people with kindness, because you just never know. Much love to you all. Many hugs, much love, and God bless. There's only one person that knows what's going on, and that's that guy above. Love yous all. Talk soon.